Have you ever wondered what it would be like if a single empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean all the way to Eastern Europe? It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel, but it actually happened. This is the incredible and often brutal story of the Mongol Empire, the largest contiguous land empire in human history. Our story begins not in a grand palace, but on the vast, windswept steppes of Central Asia. This was a harsh land, home to nomadic tribes who were constantly fighting each other for resources, territory, and survival. It was into this world, around 1162, that a boy named Temujin was born. His early life was anything but easy. His father was poisoned by a rival tribe, and his own family was abandoned, left to fend for themselves in the wilderness. But Temujin was a survivor. Through sheer force of will, charisma, and unmatched strategic genius, he began to unite the fractured Mongol tribes. He didn't just conquer them, he brought them together under a new code of law, the Yasa, and a shared identity. By 1206, he had accomplished the impossible. At a grand assembly, or Kurultai, he was proclaimed Chinggis Khan, the universal ruler of all the Mongols. But Chinggis Khan's ambition didn't stop at the borders of Mongolia. He believed he had a divine mandate from the sky god Tengri to unite the entire world under his rule, and so began one of the most astonishing military expansions in history. The Mongol army was unlike anything the world had ever seen. They were not a massive, lumbering force. They were masters of mounted archery, lightning-fast cavalry who could cover immense distances, appearing as if from nowhere. Their tactics were brilliant and terrifying. They used feigned retreats to lure enemies into traps, employed sophisticated siege warfare learned from conquered engineers, and established a rapid communication system using horse-mounted messengers, the yams. This allowed Chinggis Khan to command his armies across thousands of miles. The Mongol war machine seemed unstoppable. From the northern kingdoms of China to the Khwarezmian Empire in Persia, city after city fell. The Mongols were known for their brutality. Cities that resisted were often completely destroyed, their populations massacred. But cities that surrendered peacefully were often spared and incorporated into the growing empire. It was a simple, brutal choice: submit or be annihilated. This psychological warfare was just as effective as their cavalry charges. When Chinggis Khan died in 1227, his empire was already vast, but this was only the beginning. He had divided his empire among his 4 sons, creating different khanates. His successor, Ogedei Khan, continued the expansion. The Mongol armies pushed west, shattering the armies of the Kievan Rus, and invading Poland and Hungary, reaching the gates of Vienna. For a moment, it seemed all of Europe would fall. The only thing that stopped them was the unexpected death of Ogedei Khan in 1241. Forcing the Mongol princes to return home to elect a new leader. Under Chinggis Khan's grandsons, the empire reached its zenith. Mongol Khan oversaw further conquests, while Hulagu Khan sacked the legendary city of Baghdad in 1258, ending the Islamic Golden Age's Abbasid Caliphate. At the same time, Kublai Khan, another grandson, focused on China. After decades of war, he finally conquered the southern Song dynasty in 1279, establishing his own dynasty, the Yuan dynasty, and ruling all of China from his magnificent capital, Dadu, which is modern-day Beijing. By the late 13th century, the Mongol Empire was a global superpower. It controlled the Silk Road, creating a period of unprecedented peace and stability, known as the Pax Mongolica, or Mongol Peace. For the first time in centuries, trade, ideas, technologies, and even religions could travel safely from China to Europe. Gunpowder, the compass, and printing technology made their way west, fundamentally changing the course of European history. Marco Polo's famous journey to the court of Kublai Khan was only possible because of this newfound stability. The empire fostered a surprising degree of religious tolerance, with Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists all living and practicing their faiths within its borders. But how could such a massive empire be governed? The Mongols were skilled administrators. They adopted and adapted the bureaucratic systems of the sophisticated societies they conquered, like Persia and China. They created a standardized postal system, promoted trade by protecting merchants, and even experimented with paper money. They weren't just conquerors. They were builders of a world system. So, why did it all fall apart? An empire this large, made up of so many different cultures and peoples, was incredibly difficult to hold together. After the death of Mongol Khan in 1259, the unified empire began to fracture. The different Khanates, the Golden Horde in Russia, the Ilkhanate in Persia, the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia, and the Yuan dynasty in China began to operate more and more independently. They fought amongst themselves, weakening the whole. In China, the Yuan dynasty, led by Kublai Khan's successors, struggled to rule such a massive and culturally different population. Famines, floods, and peasant rebellions chipped away at their authority. In 1368, a Chinese rebel leader named Zhu Yuanzhang finally overthrew the Mongols and established the Ming dynasty. In Persia, the Ilkhanate crumbled due to internal power struggles. The Golden Horde held on for longer in Russia but eventually broke apart into smaller states. The Mongol Empire, a force that had reshaped the world, dissolved almost as quickly as it had appeared. In just over a century and a half, it had risen from the steppes, conquered half the known world, and then faded back into history. But its legacy is undeniable. The Mongols connected East and West like never before, accelerating the transfer of goods, knowledge, and culture across continents. Their brutal conquests caused immense suffering. But the Pax Mongolica they created laid the groundwork for the modern interconnected world. The lines on our maps today, the languages we speak, and the technologies we use were all influenced by this short-lived but world-changing empire. The story of the Mongols is a powerful reminder of how a small group of determined people from the remote grasslands of Asia could, for a brief, brilliant moment, hold the entire world in their hands. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the Mongol Empire fascinating, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next historical deep dive. See you next time.